this is Nick Legend, founder of Interview Success Method and Interview Peak Performance. Today, I'm very excited to talk with you about the one inviolable principle of job interview success. This principle is the foundation of job interview success. And if you mess it up, nothing else will matter. No matter what else you do, you will fail every time. No techniques or tricks or last-minute gimmicks will help you if you do not master this foundation. The good news for you is that most of your competition is not even aware of this. They're walking into the interviews blindly. The people who are succeeding at job interviews are using this principle every time, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and most often unknowingly. But then if you are doing it, if they are doing it unknowingly, they cannot reproduce their success with consistency, and maybe that is something you are struggling with as well. However, I'm sure you want to be able to reproduce your interview success with consistency so that you can land the job of your dreams and also be able to negotiate the highest possible salary. To me, interview success is not just about getting one job offer, but it is about having a system that can produce multiple job offers every time you need to, so that you can get the highest possible salary. So let's jump right into this most important foundation principle. Make sure to get your pen and paper out because you will need to take notes and do exercises. I know it's kind of old-fashioned, yes, but you will need to take lots of notes. This is going to be some work, and if you're not willing to do the work, this video will not be useful for you. I recommend you stop this video and go play some music videos or some comedy videos because this is not for you. So now let's talk about success in this endeavor. In your notebook, draw a circle and divide it into 3 parts as shown below. Almost like a pie, 15%, 25%, and the remaining 60%. And write down over there, in 15% write down how to, in the 25% write down the people or who, and in the 60% write down beliefs or mindset. Okay? Now let me go further in this. 15% of success in job interviews comes from the how to. Things like the subject matter knowledge, the technical knowledge, the understanding, the know-how, the skills, etc. This is where most candidates spend most of their time and energy in just figuring out the how-to of the job interview, of the job. Now, 25% of success in job interviews comes from the people you know. Knowing the right people in the company in which you're looking for a job or having the connections who can make it happen can definitely help in your job interview success. So 25% of your success will come from that aspect. However, lastly, the most critical part and the one part that most candidates falter at because no one ever taught them anything about it, the one founding principle. 60% of success in job interviews comes from your belief systems, mindsets, your attitudes. And that is what I want to talk to you about today so that you can beat out all your competition and get the job of your dreams. Let's do an exercise right now. Write down what your goal is when it comes to job interviews. Yes, pause this video and write it down. And then write down why it's a must for you, why it has to happen, why is it so important that you will do whatever it takes to make it happen. Now let's see. Do you have a clear outcome or a goal that excites you? But then I'm sure you have set job interview goals in the past and gotten excited about them but never been able to follow through. Why? Why, you ask? Well, either it wasn't a must for you or you were limited by your belief systems. You got excited wanting to go for it, but then, has it ever happened to you? You say, I'm going to do this, and this little voice inside you says, who are you kidding? Have you had that happen before? I'm sure it has happened to you before. If inside of you have a conflict and you think, it's not going to happen. I have tried everything. Why is it happening to me? This is so tough. You end up taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So in order to change this, you got to know how to change your limiting beliefs. The problem with success is that most people have a goal and they have the tools and the know-how and the knowledge, but they have inner conflicts. The beliefs are causing conflict. For example, you might say, I want to get this job, but I don't think I'm good enough for this job. Let's do another quick exercise. Write down all the limiting beliefs you have around the idea of succeeding at your next job interview. Examples of limiting beliefs would be things like, I am not qualified enough for the job. I am overqualified for the job. I am too old for the job. I am too young for the job. This job market is really tough. I don't have the exact experience they are after. Competition is extremely high. I have been unemployed for too long. It's a huge change from my current job. I am a woman. I'm a man. I'm a kid. I'm too old. Whatever it is that's stopping you, you think that's a limiting belief in your head. Write it down. Write down all your limiting beliefs. Now pause this video and write them down. I really highly recommend you do that. Get the best out of this. Get the most out of this experience. Pause the video. Do it right now. Now what's interesting is that once you believe something, all you find is evidence to support that belief system. And you screen out everything else. Here's an example. Let's do a little exercise. Sit up in your chair, and here's what I want you to do. Look around the room and look for everything that is white. Look for white, look for white. Remember, there is a lot of white in this room. White walls, white screen, white pages, white electrical sockets. Look for white, maybe your socks, maybe the page, the computer screen, whatever it is. Look for white, look around you, look behind you, look for white. Okay, good. Now, close your eyes. Close your eyes, seriously. With your eyes closed, point out everything that you saw in your room that was black. Do you see a lot more white than black? Of course you do. Of course you do. Now open your eyes and do something else. Look for black. Look for black all around you. Look for black chairs, black computer, black screen, black monitor, black keyboard. Look for black, table, chair, hair, wires, keyboards. Look around you, phone. Look around you, look behind you, look to the side, look to the left. Look for black, look for black, look for black. Okay. So did you find a lot more black this time compared to the last time? Of course you did. And why? Because our minds are conditioned that way. There is a huge science behind it. It's called the science of reticular activation system. But the way it is that whatever we're seeking is what we find. Whatever we're thinking about is what we're finding. Whatever we're believing is what we're finding. So when you look for something, you believe in something, you find it everywhere. Now here is the interesting thing. We will often find things that aren't even there to support our limiting beliefs, to find what we're looking for. It is entirely possible that when you were looking for black, you even assigned something gray as black and went with it just to tell yourself that you're finding black. Or maybe something that was beige or light off-white, but you said it was close enough to white. So just to feel successful, you called it white. So as you see, we will even shape things in our minds to get our beliefs. So the reason you need to change your limiting beliefs is because unless you do, it will pull you backwards every time. Every time. It'll keep you from finding the answer. It'll keep you from finding that job. No matter how qualified you are, no matter how good you are, you will not be able to succeed at the job because you will always limit yourself. So how do you change your beliefs when it seems all this complex? Can you remember a belief back in the days, let's say 10 years ago, you had that belief, but today maybe you're even embarrassed to believe that you had that belief. All of us have gone through it, so there is no shame in accepting that. So we know that beliefs can change. Beliefs can change. Let me show you how the candidates who succeed at job interviews keep getting more jobs, while the candidates who start failing at them continue to fail at them and are unable to get out of the funk. Sometimes you feel like it's not even fair that those people who already have job offers continue to get more and more job offers. It's the same as why rich keep getting richer while the poor keep getting poorer, or why the happy people tend to get more happy or the sad people get sadder. So let's do something simple. On your paper, draw boxes as shown in the next slide. This is the success cycle, the job interview success cycle. On the top left box, you write potential. On the box on the top right, you write action. Then the box on the bottom right, you write results, and the box on the bottom left, you write beliefs, attitudes, or mindsets. This is the success cycle. Now draw the connecting arrows from potential to action, from action to results, from results to beliefs, attitude, and mindset, and from attitude and mindset back to potential. So as you can see, it's a full feedback loop. Now we need to get into further detail on that success cycle. So what is any human being's potential? No, really, what is it? How much potential do you really have? A little or a lot? As an interview candidate, you already have the education and the experience, and that is why the employer has invited you in the first place to be at the job interview. So you already have the potential that you want. Even the employer thinks you have the potential. But do most candidates' results reflect their true potential? No. What about you? Do you feel that the results you've had so far in your job interviews are a true reflection of your real potential? Why not? Why not? Well, it's because most people aren't taking enough action. But you know what's interesting? You can take a lot of action and still get bad results. For example, if you've been studying for job interviews and appearing at them but still haven't gotten the success, what do you think might be going on? The thing that affects everything, the one that was in the green box, it is the beliefs, the mindset, and the attitude. Now let's say you believe you're walking into a job interview but you believe it's never going to change, things aren't going to get better, this is just how it is, I have tried everything. If you believe things aren't going to get better, are you going to tap your full potential? Are you going to give it your very best? No, no way. If you believe things aren't going to work out, you're not going to find your best ability. Just like when you're looking for black, you find black. So if you don't believe you're going to get that job, do you take massive action or little action? And if you don't believe in yourself, you take little potential and multiply it with little action, what kind of results do you expect? What kind of results will you get? Little potential, little action, what kind of results will you get? Little, of course, lousy results. And when you get lousy results, what does it do to your beliefs? Your brain goes, see, I told you it won't work out. And now you believe even less. So you tap even less potential, and you know it's not going to work, and you take even less action, and you get even worse results. And your brain goes, see, and now you're in a downward spiral. And it is entirely possible that this is what is happening in your job search today. But, what if the opposite happened? What if something changed your sense of certainty about the job interview, where you felt absolutely certain that you would succeed at this job interview, no matter what? And when you are certain, how much potential are you going to tap into? More or less? And when you believe it's going to work, do you take little action or a lot of action? No, you take a lot of action and you tap into all your potential because you know it's going to work out. When you tap into a lot of potential and you take massive action towards your interviews, what kind of results are you going to get? Great results. And what does that do to your beliefs? Your brain goes, see, I told you it would work out. I told you you were good. And now you believe even more. As a result, you tap into even more potential and take more action. And you get better results. And your brain goes, see, I knew you could do it. I knew you were a stud. And now you're in the upward spiral. Now this is how the ones who have job offers get even more, and the ones who don't get any. So the secret to this is not to change your potential, because you have the degree, you have the education, you have the experience for the job. And the secret is not to try and force to change your actions either, because those actions will be weak unless you change your beliefs. And you say, how do I do that? Well, there are ways to do it, And we go over the most powerful ones, specially tailored for job interview success in the course Interview Peak Performance. But here are two simple strategies to get you started. One way is to repeat it often enough with certainty that you start to believe in it. And you start to only see that. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, you just start to repeat it to yourself and you believe in it and you believe more and more in it. And another way is to see it enough times in your mind that you start to believe in it, what some people call as visualization. And when the mind sees it vividly enough times, it imagines it to be true. So if you have a job interview and you want to be successful at it, you see yourself being successful at it. And over time, as you condition your brain to see that success at job interview, you actually believe it to be true and your mind goes about trying to accomplish it. And by imagining it, it becomes possible when you do those visualization with enough realism. So we go into a lot more detail in these belief systems in the Interview Peak Performance, but I hope you've gotten a good idea as to what is going on behind the scenes of your own thinking, which is causing the results, which is giving you the results today. And just an example, Andre Agassi, the tennis legend, said, "I won Wimbledon 10,000 times even before I played it. I had seen that moment over and over again since I was a kid, and when I walked in that day to play the finals, I had visualized that since I was 12 years old. When I walked in, I was certain that I was going to win because I was in that experience." Now this is powerful visualization. Powerful, very powerful visualization. And you can apply the same to your job interview, to succeeding at job interview. And now before we conclude, is another video that will shatter your perceptions of how powerful our brain is when it comes to finding what we're looking for. It blew my mind away. I'm sure it'll blow your mind away as well. Do a search on YouTube for Selective Attention Test by Daniel Simon and take the test. When you take the test and you come back, you will find out a lot about the way our brains work and the way our reticular activation system works. And make sure you get the number right, okay? Well, thank you very much.